Welcome back to another edition of Talking Ball. It's Jack with JD, and we're here for the Duke Incarnate Word post-game reaction here. And it was a tough slog. It was a hard game to watch at times. Duke was up 28-21 at the half. They were 10 of 30, 33% from the field, 2 for 13, which was 15% from 3. They had 7 turnovers, which is as many as they had against Louisville in the entire game. They finished with 13 turnovers in this game, which was more than they had against Louisville and Auburn combined. And with all that being said, they still won by 26 points in a game that, as the second half wore on, was not competitive. And so, JD, what were your main takeaways from this game with Incarnate Word?
So this is one of those games you put on the schedules. It's a tune-up game. It gets your win total up. But, wow, can we play down to our opponent? And if not challenged, we didn't get. All right, first thing, we didn't get into a hole in the first segment. Now, that being said, it's not like we then ran away with the game or the first half. It was, as you said, it was 28-21 at the half. And so this is a team clearly built for a national championship. This is a team that, I don't know, 8-2, 10 games in. I still don't know their identity. I don't love the freelance offense. It gets the job done, but I think Coach Scheyer is going to have a couple of set plays. And all I can think of are, several of the great college point guards, holding the fist up. That means we're going to run this and something other than just like, oh, you're open? Okay. 3-pointer. Oh, you're going to drive? Great idea. I get he has the talent. It's an amazingly talented team. But that is a frustrating thing, and I think it's borne out by the score of the first half. And so that's my initial observation.
I mean, it's today. It's hard to say that your take is wrong. Although the second half they certainly got things going. They did figure out that Khaman Maluach. Shout out to one of our listeners, Lawrence Freeman, who was with me and saying we got to get this guy the ball inside. And today they finally did that. Took a little bit, but they finally were able to do that and get to him on a more consistent basis, looking for him with alley-oops. The one thing I will say is in the second half, especially with Isaiah Evans, they start to figure out, and I again, we don't really know, but my assumption is it wasn't a called play just based off of what we've heard from Coach Scheyer. They started doing a lot of off-ball, like flare screen actions for Isaiah Evans. And whether it was Gangba, well, most of the time it was Gangba in setting the screens to free him up, and Gillis was the one passing it to him. And that's the one benefit of not calling plays is there's a little, it's harder to predict what the other team is going to do. But to your point, maybe we could mix in, one play every 5 times down the court or something, especially in games like this where offensively, it's a major struggle for Duke, and it shouldn't have been. This is not a good defensive team, but for whatever reason today, just offensively, and I mean maybe not just today, but just offensively, just couldn't find any sort of flow or rhythm. And in the second half, Duke did score. Would they have 28 in the first half? So they had 44 points in the second half. So that's pretty good. But overall, the first half was just stagnant offense. However, with all of this being said, got to give a lot of credit to the defensive end of the court. Without our best defender today, Malik Brown, still
Hey,
held.
stop right there. Stop right there. Without our best defender, Malik Brown. Did we have any idea he wasn't going to play today? This Duke is the equivalent of the Kremlin. There is just unbelievable, the most carefully guarded thing. Yes, we saw him tweak his foot a little bit. He ran a little bit, the Louisville game, a little tenderly. So I had no, it's not like we get the injury report before the game. On the other hand, Malik Brown will not be playing tonight. All right, at least we found out how the game got scheduled. That John Shire and the coach of Incarnate have the same agent. And as a result of that, the conversation was started. So that clears up that mystery for me. So a couple of things there, but I got a DNP next to Malik Brown, and I'm like, what? And maybe that also, because he has been such a part of the game. Although, Jack, as you said, defensively, how much better could we have been if we gave up 21 and 25 points? I love Laura Antonelli, but as an announcer say, Debbie Antonelli, that we had to step up our defense. 21 and 25. What was she expected? Would that we would be they'd be in the teens both halves or something? Maybe. That's
To your point, though, I guess it was notable because we got off to a really slow start, and typically the guys who've been stabilizers for us have been Sion James and Malik Brown, and to a little bit of a lesser extent Mason Gillis. And Sion James picks up 2 fouls in less than a minute. Malik Brown doesn't play. And so we don't get that effect that we typically do from those veterans. The one thing I will say about Malik Brown missing this game, to your point, had no idea that was going to happen. I would hate to be a sports bettor who put money on Duke, because you just don't know. We could be playing George Mason next week, and Cooper Flagg could have a sprained ankle. We won't find out until the game tips off. So, it's a tough team to bet on in that sense. But the one thing I will say on Malik Brown is, coming into this game, I thought it would be a good idea for him to only play like 10 minutes. Now, 0 minutes was not what I expected, but I did think it would be a good opportunity for Mal to get some more minutes and Gangba to get some minutes, and both those things were able to happen. I'm hoping that it is actually a minor injury, although we don't know. And I'm sure you had a similar thought as me, because once they said toe injury, I just thought back to Kyrie Irving and how that wasn't supposed to be a big injury at all. And all of a sudden he ends up missing the majority of the season. So hoping Malik Brown has a speedy recovery, because, boy, he's been so important for this team, especially in the big games this year.
Well, and I think because of his importance, I guess it's possible that we won't see him the next game, although there is a week off. And there are toe injuries and there are toe injuries. There's Kyrie's toe, and we never saw him again until they let him play a little bit in the March Madness. Or maybe he even got into the ACC. I forget. Long time ago.
I think you're right. March Madness.
And then the other big toe injury was Aaron Judge, where he slammed his foot, and we thought that would be it. He goes on to be the American League MVP. So, there are toe injuries and there are toe injuries. So I don't know what kind of toe injury this is. But there is a lot we got right about this one. We thought that they needed, you did, thought this was a great opportunity to get the ball into Mal and see if the alley-oop and get him involved. And we got that right. Gangba got some minutes. How many minutes did he get?
Gangba, let's see. He finished today with 18 minutes.
All right. So, okay. He got minutes. Isaiah Evans got 19 minutes with 14
14.
points. You know, the microwave. The microwave. He's unbelievable. Evans did get, Harris got some time. And that was good. And I would like to say that I said at the 3-minute mark, if we had a sufficient lead, fan favorite Hubbard would come in. And how right was I when Coach Shire called a timeout at the 3-minute mark to ensure that Hubbard could get in the game? So we did get a lot right about this, other than and we were right that they didn't have a bad first segment. The other thing we didn't get right was they kind of like didn't show up again for the first half. And now we're going from, Auburn to Louisville to Incarnate Word. I don't understand what you need to say as a coach to say you have to dig in. Maybe it's a full court press to start the game, and then you back off of that immediately.
One second. So when this game started to turn around for Duke was actually around the 5-minute, 30-second mark or so in the first half, when Coach Shire called a timeout and then had them go to a full court press. And that got the team's energy up. They got an alley-oop to Khan, got a nice alley-oop to Maluach, and they went on a little bit of a run. They were up 21-14. I thought they were going to kind of start to pull away there. Didn't quite happen until the second half, but that did start to get them to go. The other thing, too, just trying to keep in mind the human aspect of this is that you're playing Incarnate Word. Now, listen, these are reasons. They're not excuses. They should have played better today. But with that being said, you're playing Incarnate Word. You're expected to win. You're a 35-point favorite. It is, I believe they said finals are starting this week. So your mind might be in a couple places. It's almost the holiday season. For some of the freshmen, maybe that's part of what's going on here. There's just some other things that could be surrounding the game. But with all that being said, they've got to perform better offensively. And Coach Shire has got to see what he can do to try to get them going in a positive direction, moving forward.
Well, I think it's not that their overall team average for points, I think, is actually okay. I mean, I think they're near 80 or something. It's hard to say because it varies. I don't have the stats in front of me. Maybe you can check that for me. But it's the slow start. And he talked about it, as you said, during the press conference of the Louisville game. And it's the slow start where you've got to think of something else to do to try to, maybe, I said full court press, play up in them on D. I don't know what to, tell them there's, extra KFC if they win. It's like, oh, and sorry, I got another shout out here. Big shout out. Sometimes I'm critical to the Cameron Crazies. The Cameron Crazies had a great game tonight. They actually had a great game tonight.
I agree. They were awesome. It's funny that triggered you because I was thinking the same thing. Because they wanted that sub, man, and they had good energy throughout this game. And listen, opposed to the players who maybe came in a little bit sleepy, Incarnate Word, whatever, the fans did not. They were ready to go from the jump, and they kept their energy throughout the game. So, performance from the Crazies today.
Absolutely, because sometimes. So, Jack, take us through the stats, because it's like last game, Louisville, while Cooper Flagg leaves the game and they go on that 18-2 run, I was blown away when you said, well, he still finished with 20 points and 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
What were his stats tonight?
So Cooper, he finished with, let's see here. I'm trying to do it so everyone can see with me. I'm having a hard time finding points. 6 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists tonight. 6 points for Sion James, who also had 3 assists and 6 rebounds, but he had 4 fouls and 4 turnovers. He had a little bit of a tough time today as the point guard. Proctor, only 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting. Con Knipple had 10 points. He did shoot 2 of 4 from 3, but was 2 of 6 from the field. Big Mal, best game scoring-wise of his young college career here. 17 points, 7 rebounds. Caleb Foster, 4 points, 4 assists, though. I thought he did a good job, especially early passing, and I thought some of his decision-making wasn't the best. Let's see. Can't seem to scroll down. But Mason Gillis had 5 assists. As we talked about, Isaiah Evans had 14 points in 19 minutes. Darren Harris had 4 points off the bench. Gangba had 4 rebounds and 6 points. Although I did feel like early on he was a bit shaky in his first half minutes.
But I felt like he settled down a little bit.
He did.
Giving him minutes is a very important thing so that he doesn't have that tentative nature that you see when he first comes on the court.
Also, just thinking big picture, right? This year's Duke team, we had 2 guys return. For me, from the start of the season through now, if you're looking at the freshman class who came in, it's Harris and Gangba that, if you're Coach Shire, you're hoping you can retain for next season. And so getting those guys minutes in games like this is important so they feel comfortable and part of the program, so that way they're more likely to stick around for their sophomore seasons. I know that's not necessarily a big part right now of where, Duke basketball is, but that's just the reality of where college basketball is. You're constantly recruiting your own players. Because if you're not, I'm sure there's another school who's looking at Darren Harris and Patrick Gangba, and come March and April, they're going to be reaching out to them legally or illegally and trying to get them to come to their school, because they're going to say those are top 40 recruits. They didn't play very much. Maybe they want, major playing time. And so these types of games are important for Coach Shire, the general manager, if you will, managing his roster. And so I think it was good to get those guys some opportunities today.
It was the kind of game that allowed for it, as we were anticipating when we did the preview show. And so I'm very pleased that Coach Shire saw it the way we did, which is that everybody could have a chance to play in tonight's game. So we're going to start a new segment where we're going to give out it's Olympic gold, silver, bronze awards to Duke players. So Jack, who gets the gold tonight?
That's easy. The gold medal for this game goes to Khaman Maluach. Mentioned career high 17 points, 7 rebounds. Really saved Duke today. Just couldn't hit a shot, especially in the first half. And it was Maluach's offense that kept Duke in the lead, because without him, Incarnate Word probably would have had a first half lead before the second half adjustments and just shot making from Duke.
So I'll add one other thing to it. He got called for 2 offensive goaltending, and
well, 1 defensive.
Okay, but called twice for goaltending. And it kind of reminds me of Patrick Ewing. There was a college game in which the first two shots that went up, Ewing was called for goaltending. And it was just sending a message saying, no, you're not coming in here. And I loved his intensity. Even if it was called for goaltending, and one I thought was really close, but
I didn't think it was goaltending, by the way.
I didn't think it was goaltending. But part of giving him the goal, all right, it is his intensity, both ends of the court. Great game. Totally agree. Silver. Who gets the silver medal tonight, Jack?
Silver. That's Mr. Microwave himself, Isaiah Evans. I think he had 0 points in the handful of minutes he played in the first half, and he finished with 14, all of them in a spurt. He just has a knack for getting hot in a hurry. And his three-point shooting, I think at this point, in games at least, I think he's the best shooter on the team. Coming into the season, there's certainly debate between him, Darren Harris, and Con Knippel, and Mason Gillis. But as of right now, that nod goes to Isaiah Evans, who just did a great job of finding space in the second half of this game. And not only that, but shout out to Gangba and Mason Gillis for helping create that space and finding him for his three-pointers in the second half.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's a combination, the microwave can get hot in a hurry. I love that phrase. It just there are very few players that can, they'll hit a shot, and they're hot. But this guy warms up to 115 degrees in 5 minutes. He's got, all his points, and it's wonderful. And I think Coach Shire has to understand the weapon that he has there with Isaiah Evans. All right, who'd you have for bronze?
Quickly, before we get to bronze, I want to say something. Isaiah Evans is the one guy who, when you talk about, maybe not the one guy, but he's one of the guys. When you talk about we should run plays for that guy. And we did in the Auburn game. And
there were a couple of times where he did have the ability to take advantage of a pick, but it's sort of like it's not. I don't know, like in a typical offensive flow where it's your first option, your second option, your third option. It's just like, okay, get open, and some guy sets a pick for him. I don't know that this is second option. And so they throw the ball to him, and, the microwave is just ridiculous in terms of his ability. Once he's on, just keep giving him the ball. All right, take us to the bronze.
Last point, he also does a really good job setting up the defender. So, he'll fake like he's going right, but the screen's on the left, and so he kind of creates a little bit more separation that way. Bronze medal. It was a little bit tough to pick out a third guy today, but I'm going with Mason Gillis. He led the team with 5 assists. Thought he was a nice steadying presence tonight against Incarnate Word. He came off the bench as he has all year. He had 19 points. Sorry, not 19 points. 19 minutes. He didn't score any points, but he did have 5 assists and 2 rebounds. 3 rebounds, sorry. Can't get any of the stats right here. I just felt like he was a good steadying presence for the team. As I said, 5 assists, number them to Isaiah Evans. Just smart plays. And on a night where it was tough to pick out a third player, we're going with Mason Gillis.
All right, so as this is a new segment, walk us through that one more time. Do it in a row. Gold, silver, bronze.
Gold medal, Khaman Maluach. Silver, Isaiah Evans. And the bronze, Mason Gillis.
And I think there you have it. We hope to hear from you guys. Maybe you agree, you don't agree with us. Tell us why. But for now, I couldn't agree more with your choices. Although, the third one, as you said, it's a little tricky to figure out that that's, the third best player. I might have gone with Gangba only because he settled in. He showed that he could be on the court. That was really important for us to know that, especially when Malik Brown's got a toe injury that maybe we'll see him in a week and maybe we won't. But that's just the way it goes. But all right, Jack, it's over to you. Wrap it up.
Yep. So with that being said, a little bit of a break here for Duke basketball. They won't play again until the following Tuesday, December 17th, against George Mason. So with that being said, we won't be back until we do another preview, which is going to be this coming weekend. So be on the lookout for that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like this video. It helps us grow. As JD said, we want to hear from you in the comments below. Share it with a friend. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.